Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Today we are so fortunate to have His Grace Ram Girdhari Prabhuji from Mumbai. And today Prabhuji will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse 13 onwards. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. And whenever you are ready, please take over the call.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Sadhguru Prabhupada. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that I had another call that I got a bit late. So please excuse me, and I'm very happy to log in on an Ekadashi day because my scheduled lecture was for tomorrow. Just in case if somebody have been expecting the other speaker, so I'm sorry for disappointing. Srimad Bhagavatam discussing on Ekadashi day. It's like a cherry on the cake. Madhavatiti Bhakti Janani Chatane Palana Kari. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Madhava Titi Bhakti Janani. This is a day where we are supposed to work towards awakening our God consciousness. So, very much indebted to the devotees to have accepted my request. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, text number 13. The chapter titled Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Sayesha Atmasva Pareti Adbhutibhir Duratyayanu Kramano Nirupyate Muhyanti Yadvartamani Vedavadino Brahmadayo Hi Esha Vinatti Me Matim. Persons who always think in terms of enemy and friend and are unable to ascertain the super soul within themselves. Not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered in following the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created the situation, has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. Purport. Prahlad Maharaja admitted frankly, my dear teachers, you wrongly think that Lord Vishnu is your enemy, but he is favorable toward me. I understand that he is the friend of everyone. You may think that I have taken the side of your enemy, but factually, he has bestowed a great favor upon me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sayesha Atma Sva Pareti Abudvidhir Turatyayanu Kramano Nirupyate Muhyanti Yadvartamani Vedavadino Brahmadayo Hyesha Bhinatti Mematim. Persons who always think in terms of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the super soul within themselves. Not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered in following the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created the situation, has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. So Prahlad Maharaj is addressing to the teachers. They are trying to cajole him or trying to convince him that somehow Prahlad should swing towards his father's opinion. Actually, Hiranyakashipu got pretty wild and Hiranyakashipu advised his assistants that make sure that Prahlad is given complete protection and let the teachers educate him against the Vaishnava tradition. So when he was brought to the Gurukula, Sanda and Amarka pacified him and they spoke to him, asking him how his intelligence was spoiled, asking him what made him to think about the enemy of his father. They are trying to swing towards Hiranyakashipu's following, either out of fear or out of respect, or that they are just dependent on this job for their maintenance. So sometimes we in the corporate world, we have to keep a very silent stance, even though we see some adharmic activities going on there. So they are asking him what makes him to think about the enemy. So whatever verse that we just read today, they are spoken by Prahlad Maharaj in response to their question. Because they are perplexed that at such a small age, at the age of 5, whilst he has not stepped out of the house, whilst he was born to an asura, how he is able to think about Krishna. So we have some reflections as usual as a part of our churning the nectar. We will have 3 sets of reflections to this current context. We can do 30 also, but then within the limited time, we will discuss these 3 reflections. Titikshava Karunika Suhrida Sarvadehinam Ajata Shadruva Santa Sadhva Sadhu Bhushana. So Kapiladev is explaining the qualities of a Vaishnava. So he is listing what are all the bhushanas, abhushanas, ornaments for a sadhu. So one of the characteristics of the listing, Titikshava means tolerance, Karunika means merciful, Suhrida Sarva Dehinam means well-wisher of all the living entities, Ajata, one who is not having any enemy, Shadruva, Santa, peaceful, saintly. These are all the qualities of a self-realized soul. Because of Prahlad Maharaj's association with the spiritual subject matter when he was in the womb, the power of spiritual science is such that when even a person was in the womb, he got benefited. So, Prahlad Maharaj is responding, what you are claiming as intelligence, what you are thinking, you are asking, where is that intelligence come for me? He is giving a very befitting, emphatic, confident reply. He's saying that there is no concept of enemy or a friend for somebody who is in resonance with the Supreme Lord Paramatma. There is nothing called enmity or friendliness. A devotee of the Lord is beyond dualities. Krishna is saying one of the quality of a Vaishnava is he is beyond Dvandva Moha. Dvandva Moha means one who is bound by the effect of duality. Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita 7.28, Esham tu andagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavritaha. The person who have acted piously in previous life and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. So my first reflection is about the aspect of a Vaishnava being beyond duality of delusion. Because only when we are deluded, only when we are in Dvandva Moha, that's when the challenge of enemy, friend, Acha, Bura, Sahi, Galat, beautiful, ugly, all those things mattered. From our worldly eyes, we differentiate somebody as beautiful or ugly. But from Krishna's eyes, because we are all his children, all of us look beautiful to him. All of us are dear to him. He doesn't differentiate. He is not partial. So my first reflection is, because of Prahlad Maharaj being a self-realized soul, he is exhibiting the quality of non-duality. He is saying those who see super soul, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. A learned person does not see any difference between a dog, dog eater, elephant, cow, human being. Why? Because he is seeing the super soul within. So it is imperative that one need to realize that Prahlad Maharaj, even though he was born in the family of an Asura, he is a self-realized soul. As a self-realized soul, he has to definitely demonstrate by his transcendental qualities what it means to be a self-realized soul. So, one of the important qualities as a practicing devotee that we need to learn is we should not, at least we should try to work beyond duality. If we are not trying to act beyond duality, we will be entangled, as Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita 7.28. He's saying we will not be able to engage ourselves in the Lord's service and determination. So our Krishna consciousness agenda lies on how are we able to see Krishna's hand behind everything. In the materialistic scenario, we find reasons to be upset with Krishna. We find how we are entitled for several credits from Krishna. We get angry with Krishna. We want to settle scores with Krishna. We do not want to cooperate with Krishna. We want to talk against Krishna just because what you wished, what you desired did not happen. We have seen several people who convert their religion, who move away because they think that Hindu God has not taken care of them. So they will go to some other God because they get their immediate needs fulfilled. We see people becoming atheists. We see people giving up Krishna consciousness because they have some bad experience. We see people who are challenging the authenticity of the Supreme Lord. These are all effects of Kali. So this is the nature how a materialistic person thinks. In the same situation, how a devotee thinks, Prahlad Maharaj exhibited in this sloka. He says, what is enemy? Who is enemy? Who is whose enemy? I am seeing everywhere Krishna. गृहेता को बनेता को सदा हरि बोले राखो सुके दुके भूलो ना को बदने हरि नाम करो रे गाय गौरा मधुर स्वरे गृहेता कोड बनेता कोड सदा हरि बोले ताकोर सुखे दुखे बोलो हरि बोल बोलो हरि बोल बोलो हरि बोल सुखे ताकोर दुखे ताकोर बोलो हरि बोल. Both are Bhaktivinoda Thakur songs. What is this message? Whether in happiness or distress, chant the name of Hari. Chant the name of Hari, whether you are in happiness or distress. Chant the name of Hari, whether you are in Grahastha Ashrama or Sannyasa Ashrama. Chant the name of Hari at every point in time. Because a devotee considers every situation as a situation that the Lord has given. In fact, a much surrendered devotee thinks that something worst was going to happen. Krishna, by this arrangement, has made it lighter for me. For the kind of act that I have been, I should be receiving further worse treatment. But because Krishna was kind, he took care of me. So if anything is lost, they thank the Lord. One time, one Brahmana visited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house. Whenever Brahmana visits, the family is generally asking for his blessings. So everybody asked his blessings. He gave what typically Brahmanas give as blessings. Dharnyam dhanam pashum bahuputra labam sadasam vatsaram dirgamayuhu. Which means Dhanyam, you get grains. Dhanam, which means you get wealth. Dhanyam, Dhanam, Pashum, you get so much of prosperity. This is called Ashirvad Mantra, where they get Bahu Putra Labam. And you live for 100 years. So Mahaprabhu started crying. He said, my dear Sadhu, if I have done any mistake, please forgive me. He said, what happened? I'm just giving blessings. He said, how these are all blessings? When I get all these things, I tend to forget Krishna. So please bless me so that I will always remember Krishna. That is why all our Guru Maharajas and all our Vaishnavas, when they bless, they don't bless this. What they bless? Krishna Matirastu. May you always remember Krishna. So my first reflection is that how, as a practicing devotee, we need to closely observe self-realized souls and try to learn how to come out of dualities. It is very difficult, but not impossible. And if you try to adopt the philosophy that here Prahlad Maharaj has adopted, when you learn to see Krishna's hand behind everything, you will not see anything as a sorrow, anything as a disappointment, anything as a challenge in your life. Because in Prahlad Maharaj's case, nothing was a challenge. In Prabhupada's case, nothing was a challenge. And even if it was a challenge, nothing deterred them. I was talking to a devotee from South India, Balaram Govinda Prabhu. He made a very nice point. In the execution of devotional service, our focus is on the devotional service. Challenges may come and go, but how determined are you with your devotional service? Krishna will elevate you further up and take you closer to him. If you give attention to challenges, then you will tend to forget Krishna. One devotee asked Radhanath Swami Maharaj, after the class, Maharaj, you gave a very nice class about how to always remember Krishna even during challenges. But my natural tendency is, when I am in some trouble, I tend to think of a solution for my challenge. In the process, I tend to forget Krishna. So I am so busy solving my problems that I don't tend to think of Krishna. And by the time I solve one problem, the next problem is readily waiting for me. And I'm getting busy to solve that problem. Another problem is waiting for me. Then I do a third problem. I'm attending to that. So in that process, I am not getting time for Krishna. So what am I supposed to do? Maharaj, as humorous as usual, he said, wait for some more time. When you have too much of more problems that you can't even handle, that time will think of Krishna. Today you seem to have less problem, that is why you are solving it. The day will come. You will have so many problems that you will have to only surrender and can't solve. In a humorous way, he meant, he didn't want to, kind of curse. But there was a subtle message. What is the message? Instead of coming and telling to Krishna, hey Krishna, I have problem. Do we all have courage to go and tell our problem? We have Krishna. Can I go and tell my problem? Hey, problem. What do you think? Do you think you can deter me? I have Krishna with me. Can we say that? Arjuna said that. Between Duryodhana and Arjuna, Duryodhana wanted Krishna's army. But Krishna gave a chance to Arjuna to pick and choose between Krishna versus his army. Duryodhana chose Krishna. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Madhyamama. So it is very interesting and important to know, just by being free from all these dualities and other sinful portions of life. Antagatam papam. Antagatam means completely eradicated papam. This is a message for even practicing devotees. Sometimes we as practicing devotees, we are overconfident. We are lethargic. We are familiar with holy name, that sometimes we commit sinful acts thinking that somehow I will get cleansed. That is why Prabhupada says, committing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord is an offense. Antagatam papam. And he says, Jananam punya karmanam. This could be because of your bias in the previous life or in this life. Somebody's sinful activities are eradicated and they are free from duality. So when we are in Krishna consciousness. We need to understand that we have got Krishna consciousness by some sukriti. If you analyze by calculation, if I analyze by calculation, what makes me qualified to speak Srimad Bhagavatam? Zilch, there is none. But still I am speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. It is because of only some extraordinary. So to conclude the first reflection, I want to say that Prahlad Maharaj demonstrated what it means to be free from duality, free from the concept of enemy versus friend. For him, everybody was Krishna's resources, everybody were Krishna's, Krishna's. So he is always, equipoised towards them. As a practicing devotee, we need to, somewhere or the other, try to build this quality. So that way, we will not show hatred towards anyone. Rather, we may have concern, mercy, compassion towards others. Second reflection. When a person, what Krishna is explaining, bhajante mam dridhavrataha. Prabhupada also explains in the purport that how is saying that you're wrongly thinking that Lord Vishnu is your enemy. You are so determined, so confident. In 6 principles of Sharanagati, one of the principles is called Rakshishyadi Vishwaso, which means the Supreme Lord will protect me. So what happens is that every time when you see the life of a self-realized soul, you will get to see some interesting set of events. One is, you will see their surrender. Second is, you will see their undeterred confidence in the Supreme Lord, that the Lord will protect me. And because of this confidence, they are never in a hurry. So my second reflection is, as a practicing devotee, it is important for us to show the confidence that Prahlad Maharaj has shown. A 5-year-old boy speaking to their teachers, kind of challenging them about their opinion on taking Hiranyakashipu's side is not easy. Only when you are absolutely convinced and confident. So my second reflection is the combination of confidence along with patience is a sign of self-realized soul. When we associate, when we hear, when we inherit the qualities of such self-realized soul, we do have hope in our devotional life. So not just confidence, confidence associated with patience. Prahlad Maharaj was absolutely confident of what he was talking about. But for him to demonstrate that confidence in action, he had to maintain patience for a long, long time. Not only just patience, he has to go through several tribulations. Prahlad Maharaj, just because he was confident, it was not just a dry, superficial confidence like political parties speak. His confidence was shown in his action. So, the combination of confidence along with patience, gives rise to devotional activities and devotional sentiment for eternity. Sabari, she was an ardent devotee of Lord Rama. She had a very strong desire to somehow or other see Lord Ram. She was living in some sort of a remote village. In those days, what is the communication mechanism to communicate someone that she is devotee of Lord Rama and desiring for seeing and serving him? But because she was such a wonderful devotee, she knew that if I had desire to see Lord Rama will come. Not shall come, may come, can come. No, he will come. So what was Sabari doing? She every day prepared herself to receive Lord Rama. Every day she cooked, feast, cleansed her house and decorated, cleansed the entire pathway where the Lord Ram would walk. This was her everyday routine. Not for just 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. She was doing this for several years. Every day she would say, my Rama would come today. My Rama would come today. My Rama will come today. And her enthusiasm did not deter even one single day. Can you imagine? You have cooked some prasadam for some devotees and they did not come to your house. What scene we will have at our house? You would have invited somebody at home for prasadam and they did not come. Will we ever invite them again? We will have so much of anguish that we will give all sorts of accusations. 1 day. But look at the devotion. She was not stupid. She was scientific. Because technically, she was living with Ram. Technically, she was feeding Ram. Technically, she was enjoying her moments with Ram. Ram was constantly present there. But just for our naked eyes, people like us who challenge, Ram did come physically to demonstrate how Sabari was a scientific bona fide self-realized soul and to teach a principle that confidence and patience as a combination in Krishna consciousness gives rise to devotional practices and sentiments. So Prahlad Maharaj in his life, he did the same thing. He had confidence, Rakshishyati Vishwaso, and he had patience. He was not in a hurry. He was not having any expectations that the Lord has to come now. First problem he should come, second problem he should come and solve, third problem he should come and solve. He didn't have any expectation. But he had only one thing for sure. He is my father. He is my beloved. If he has put me in this challenge, how can I deny? How can I revolt? He is my dearest. He will always think about my welfare. How is that possible? He will put me in some sort of a distress. Can you imagine the kind of understanding that he had? So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, when we read the lifestyle of Acharyas, Tukaram Maharaj, look at his life, his wife, children, village men, society at large, everybody accused. But he stood fast. He stood. Indriyam sakala bhavato nirala nahintuja. I will tell, I am so confident, my dear Indriya, my dear senses. Make sure that you don't do anything against Vittala. Jihve Sri Krishna mantram, japa japa sadatam, janma sapalya mantram. King Kulashekara. Look at their confidence. Look at their determination. So, as a second reflection that I want to say, that Prahlad Maharaj is teaching, demonstrating, and showing by his personal example what it means to be a combination of C and P, confidence and patience in Krishna consciousness, which rises to devotional sentiments and devotional activities for the rest of the life. It doesn't matter for these people whether the Lord has to appear or not appear. But still Lord appeared so that people like us who are very primitive in our understanding can also get motivated to follow such. The last reflection is about, in this context where Prahlad Maharaj is trying to clarify, says, बड़े बड़े लोग फिसल जाते हैं साहब. Not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered. So he is giving a chetavani, he is giving a warning. What is the warning? You may be whomever you are, but you need to make sure that you hold on to the rope tightly, because there is slippery. You are walking on the racer's edge. You are being challenged by Mama Maya, Daivihi Esha Gunamayi. You are being constantly whacked by Kali. So the third point happens to be the reason why we need to have first and second. Or if you understand first and second reflection nicely, then the third point's need is not even arising. The point is, if anybody is free from Dvandva Moha, if anybody is confident and having patience in the process and performing devotional practices and having devotional sentiment, he will not slip. So the reflection here is, as Rupa Goswami wants, there is slippery in this process. There is a chance for us to make mistakes. We are prone to make mistakes. But if we are, further he says, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who has created this situation has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. So whoever you think has caused you disturbance is the same one who has caused me, given me comfort. Prabhupada is giving a fantastic example. The example of cat carrying a kitten and a cat carrying a mouse. Both of them are in the same place. They are taken in the mouth of the cat. But when the kitten is carried, the kitten feels absolute pleasure. But in the same place, when the mouse is there, he is absolutely in death fear. So for us devotees, Vachahure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange Tarahoye Bhava Sindhure Abhaya Charanara Vindare. We will become fearless. Shoka, Moha, Bhaya Pakaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.7. What does Srimad Bhagavatam offers us? What does Vaishnava offer us? They offer us definitely these three things. What three things? If anybody is associating with Srimad Bhagavatam, they are free from lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Shoka means lamentation, moha means illusion, bhaya means fearfulness, apaha means extinguished. So Prahlad Maharaj, by him saying that Brahmaji kind of great personalities have also slipped, their intelligence also gone, crazy, because there is a risk. But somehow Krishna has saved me. Somehow that intelligence which tells you that Krishna is your enemy is actually making me to surrender to him. Which means he is telling that I am fearless, I am free from lamentation and illusion. You guys are an illusion. So he is very subtly accusing, humbly, nicely giving allegations, saying that you seem to be my teachers. Don't you know this, my dear friend? So by just a student's conduct and virtue, he can educate teacher. Not necessarily he has to scream or shout or say something. Only in the modern scenario, we have this very bad habit that we think by me speaking loudly, by me speaking only words but not in action, I will be treated truthful, or my authority will be accepted. That's a stupid way of understanding. That's how modern leaders, modern bosses, that's their strategy. They don't follow, they speak loud, and they establish their superiority. But how Prahlad Maharaj demonstrated his superiority? He spoke humble, he spoke truthful with devotion, and his words were like Teer Jaisa, like an arrow piercing the heart and touched everyone, including the teachers. So these three are my reflections from this current context. By we following self-realized souls like Prahlad Maharaj, Prabhupada, Tukaram Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Rupa Goswami, all our spiritual masters, just by we following them, we have a hope that we will also be able to come out of duality. We will also be able to very easily, we will be able to manage our emotional sentiments to be amongst confidence and patience, and we will have continuous non-stop devotional practices, and eventually we will evolve as a victorious devotee, free from fear, illusion, and lamentation. And by that way, we will be teaching society at large. Prahlad Maharaj is in his wonderful form of a 5-year-old boy, in a humble state of mind, but with absolute determination, speaking the Siddhanta. I guess the history is witness what has happened to him. What he has achieved is possible for all of us to achieve. May not necessarily be in the same way and manner, but just by being Prahlad Maharaj's students, followers of Prahlad Maharaj's instructions, in our own limited capacity, we can demonstrate that a devotee never perishes. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions or comments, I'll be happy to respond.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madana Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. It's so wonderful to hear about Prahlad Maharaj. And especially when, in today's world, in every family, you won't find all devotees. So, his struggles and this thing are so encouraging to us. He's one such Mahajan character, I would say, always had a special place, in our life. And right now, Narashinga Chaturdashi went like in May, of course, but and now we are hearing. Actually, during that time also we were hearing, so we were very, very fortunate. Like you mentioned in the last line that whoever is hearing, and I really like the example of the Shabri. I mean, so amazing her devotion. And you're right. Actually, I wanted to say when you were saying that if we make prasadam and somebody doesn't come, we crib. Oh, we made so much. Now we have to eat for 3 days, and 2-3 days, whatever, because we in little extra quantity we make. So then, but Shabri was so patient, and she would just selflessly, serve. And she's also like a, wonderful example for us where, I mean, of course, we can cook a little less amount. So if, whoever guest is coming or devotees or other people we're preaching to, if they are, suppose they didn't turn up, then, the family can consume a little extra prasadam in a day or two. So we have to have that, balance, so to say, like that. And yeah, in the previous verse, Prabhuji, like how Prahlad Maharaj is saying that to treat family and enemy on the same level. Uh, I don't know, as we more get into Krishna consciousness, I realize that, we have read so many times about these modes of material nature, passion, ignorance, and all. So, what happens is when we go in the world outside or meet people, friends, relatives, we tend to observe them and put them in a category of passion and ignorance mostly, goodness also. And then automatically, that feeling of enmity comes in the mind. Enmity in the sense that I have to maintain a distance. This person is not good. He's so, enmity, inimical. Another word comes from that, jealous, and, so much dominating, and all these qualities, come in us. And at that point, it is so hard because what I'm understanding is like with Prahlad Maharaj's, hearing, he is just not bothered about these things. All he's doing is preaching, wherever he goes. But for us, it is very hard to, follow Prahlad Maharaj, who's has this, even preaching to his father, who he knows is so inimical, is not going to like the words, still he's speaking them. So, can you share some thoughts on this? Because for me, it's very flowery words. Treat friends, enemies same. Treat your non-devotee, devotee same. Because we have to protect ourselves after all. We have to protect our bhakti. And we cannot be too much involved and, connected to people who are in mode of passion, ignorance, and all these things. And, and definitely for me, immediately, I start thinking this person is, like Lord Chaitanya will not be happy if I associate with so and so person, because, so I mentally start thinking the person is like my enemy only. I should think person is enemy, I have to maintain a distance. So that's my material thinking. That's how I think. I have to maintain a distance because all the time I'm trying to differentiate between enmity and between friendship and enemy, in the sense from Krishna conscious point of view, so I can protect my bhakti, you know. So if you have some words to share of wisdom where I can have some scope somewhere here to improve, so it'll help me, Prabhuji, in my spiritual life. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
There are two things that I would like to say in this context. One is what Prabhupada says, or which is a very famous saying, that you hate the sin, but not the sinner. When Jesus Christ was forgiving everyone, his one aspect, a statement was that whoever is doing whatever they are doing because of their ignorance. 9 out of 10 instances, we understand the people who are causing us pain, they don't even realize they are causing us pain. In the truest sense, they may know superficially, but what they are doing to themselves, like what Bilwamangala Thakura in his previous stint before he became a saint, he was in kind of some sort of an intoxicated state. Ajamila was in an intoxicated state. We all, before coming in Krishna consciousness, we were all in intoxicated state. But then, somehow, Emana Durmati Samsara Bitare Udiya Chino Ami Tavani Jajana Kona Mahajane Padaya Dile Tumi Doya Kori More Patita Dekiya. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, one wonderful soul, one wonderful Vaishnava, seeing my suffering, he picked me up and delivered me. So my first point to the situation or the question that you have posed is that yes, it is painful. So you feel the pain, you feel the displeasure about that act rather than the person, so that you have some courage to fight against that act, not against that person. Because Vaishnavas are Krantikaris. They are activists. They are revolutionists. Revolutionism means I am not against people, I am against that act. Second, as Prabhupada always give the reference of Chanakya Pandita on this, Atma Sarva Bhuteshu Ya Paschati Sa Pandita. Independent of what the other person is, learn to treat others as you wish yourself to be treated. Both these suggestions are very, very difficult and extraordinary. We are by default revenge mongers. If somebody has given me pain, I should retaliate, and at least to an extent, he should realize what I experienced. But unfortunately, spiritual life doesn't support that view. Don't give them pain from your side. But please also note that the whole universe is going to be backing you, and they will be properly handled. In the sense that Hiranyakashipu got his due punishment, but it was not who Prahlad Maharaj gave. So neither to think that those who are causing us pain should be punished, nor to have in the mood of revenge towards anyone, being anguished towards anyone, to have hatred towards anyone, to have animosity towards anyone. It is not very good for devotional practice. Having said that, we are fully allowed to disassociate from such a situation. What we are asked to do, don't disrespect them and don't accuse them or box them into some sort of a personality. Have some patience, have some compassion, have some mercy, because what they are doing is out of their novice. So from that perspective, a Vaishnava is always para dukkha dukhi. Others' pain will pain him. He will always have the tendency of jivadoya. So this is ideal expectation, but as a transactional expectation, to a simplest extent, we can at least not hate the person, but hate his act. And if the act is bothering you, you can disassociate, stay away from that person rather than spreading falsity, spreading animosity, spreading bad opinion about that person to everyone. That is not going to be in any way for our usual cause. Am I making some sense, Mother?
Yes, Prabhuji, definitely. And one more point I wanted to add. Wonderful answer that, hate the, like, I mean, we've heard this so many times. Don't hate the person, hate the sin, not the sinner. It's like so famous thing in like Christianity also, right? But the way you explained it made sense. What happens is when, our mind has these negative qualities of comparing. So when we are an association of devotees, we see devotees are, like so caring, loving, everything. But then that we don't find in the outside world. So we are like split apart between this situation and that situation. And then automatically, whether we want or not, that caring, like for example, you go to temple and even if the last piece of mango somebody will serve you, no, you take Mataji, it's okay, we don't want. Now you go to another gathering and they are like grabbing it, like we should get it. So when we see like that, we are like, it frustrates us a little bit, of course, but then we have to understand that we really have to, like you said in your answer, we have to get through. So comparison comes, Prabhuji. Like, what is the thing for that comparison not to come, and just accept that, okay, fine, like these people are, they are what they are. That's why devotees are different from non-devotees. So if little bit more light you can shed on the comparison aspect that comes automatically. But the answer was very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
One of the senior devotees have told this in one of the classes. He says that if you have a reality check on yourself, and if you know your weaknesses, and if somehow or other, if you're able to see others positive, you will never have a courage to compare. If we always dwell on how good we are and dwell on how bad the other person is, you will never stop accusing and comparing. So he was telling how, as practicing devotees, we should learn to be pessimistic upon ourselves and optimistic upon others. Meaning, we should be learning to question our disintegrity, how much ever quotient we may have, and try to appreciate how much ever little progress or little positivity the other person is showing. Again, this quality is easily said than done. But for sure, we need to remember that when two people have a problem, proportions may vary, but problem is at both the sides. One side have absolutely no problem, another side has got 100% problem, especially in a conditioned person's life, is not possible. In a self-realized soul's life, sometimes it is possible where the Lord wants to demonstrate something. So, the comparison tendency will naturally go away if I know how poor I am in some things. So that is why in devotional life, we are regularly expected to do self-introspection. What will you introspect? You introspect about all the activities where you need to improve. When you are constantly thinking at your rooms for improvement, you will naturally have a sense of humility, and you may not compare how the other person is, whatever. You rather want to follow. Instead of comparison, we follow. Instead of trying to, go past someone, we will be ready to go after someone. I'm making some sense, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And of course,
Right.
if I know, like we have to introspect, Prabhuji. So if suppose what happens is like we see the same thing in the opposite way, like we are seeing that like other person is judging, other person is accusing, other one is always throwing this thorns on you, not flowers. So our thing would be just to tolerate.
Step away, disassociate. If so long as you can handle it, you handle it. Otherwise, you disassociate. If it is bothering to your sanity, if it is bothering your, Prahlad Maharaj, what he did was an ideal, extreme, transcendental situation. But in our conditioned state, if you are not able to handle other persons throwing thorns at us, disassociate. Stay away from them. Stay away from envious people. If your family members have only working relationship, have a transactional relationship, somewhere or other put a fence around. Nobody can, nobody can disturb us unless we want to get disturbed. Nobody can bother us unless we want to get bothered. And nobody can deter us from our devotional journey unless we want to get laxed. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I just got the overall concept of the whole thing. And yes, and our goal has to be like, we have to, like I was thinking that, even if sometimes people, will ask questions saying that among devotees, there is sometimes devotees are like this and that. So I think it's better to, like get along with all devotees, no offenses, than to deal with people in Maya and all that outside world. It's much easier, just to stay in the devotee association, not find faults. And because of course there are situations where devotees find fault among devotees also, but it's such a more blissful situation than outside world. It's crazy with the people outside what they are up to. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the class and also answering the question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, all grace to Srila Prabhupada. It was such a nice class. I missed the beginning part. Anyway, whatever I could gather was so nectarian, and your point by point analysis and reference from the scripture and from the various pastimes. The Lord and His devotees are so wonderful to relate to. Yeah, it is so. Prahlad Maharaj in such a young age is giving us such nice lessons. And I was thinking, like I was remembering that verse. Krishna also wants us to be free from enemies. He says, "Nirvaira sarva bhutesu." That is, mat karma kit, mat parama, mat bhakta sangha, nirvaira sarva bhutesu, yasam amati pande. To go to Krishna, we should be nirvaira, free from enemies, at least in the material sense. But I was also, reference of the example of Hanumanji also came to my mind. So he was angry on Ravan. He was destroying Lanka. He was setting fire to the Lanka, and so against Prahlad Maharaj. So both are devotees. So what I was gathering was Prahlad Maharaj was Nirvaira, free from enemies, because it was his distress. Whereas the Hanumanji was dealing with the distress of Sita Devi, another devotee. So if it comes to protecting some other devotee, we can be angry. We can be country.
Yes, you are right. And in fact, fourth canto, second chapter or third chapter, Prabhupada writes in Daksha Prajapati episode that when a devotee is offended and you are not reacting to that, it's a sin. So your reaction could be you go and fix the problem, or you leave the place, or there are other recommendations given. The point is, yes, all the while that we have, whatever we have spoken is, when the challenges or when people are torturing oneself, then how that person has to behave vis-a-vis when somebody else in front of you being tortured, how your behavior should be. Hanuman, when he did the leap towards Lanka, he faced 3 different situations during the leap. And the way he handled them, and when he reached Lanka, he was facing some challenges, how he handled them. And when Lord Rama was insulted, how he handled them. All the 3 situations, that tells that how wonderful Vaishnava, wonderful devotee Hanuman was. Yes, we have Hanumans, Arjunas, as well as Prahlad Maharaj in the world, and each of them demonstrate some Vaishnava principle in a unique and transcendental manner. You're right, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes,
Any other questions or comments?
Prabhuji, I just want to add one thing. But Hanumanji came. Came because he was doing service to Lord Ram, and when he burned the Lanka, it's because first Ravan burnt his tail. So then he retaliated, and then everything he was doing as a service. So if we get angry in the service of Krishna, then it's good. Otherwise, we should not get angry, because then we are in the mode of ignorance, and it doesn't do good to the health or mental state. So I just wanted to add that point. And I think we cannot compare. My mind is not able to compare, Prahlad Maharaj and Hanumanji's, if Partha Prabhu is intended to do that. Because, both the case is totally different. Here, this innocent little 5-year-old boy, he's just serving Lord all the time by remembering, chanting. But here, Hanumanji was, correct me, Prabhuji, if I'm wrong, he came on a mission to get Sita back.
No, Partha Prabhu was not saying he was comparing that how both are devotees and both are transcendental, and how both are, bona fide. And we are not, Prabhupada says, a Vaishnava is as soft as lotus petal and as hard as thunderbolt simultaneously. He'll be very soft, and is very, cordial. When Daksha accused Shivji in 2nd chapter of 4th canto, Shiva was so equipoised and very silent and very composed. But when Vaishnavas were hurt, then the same Lord Shiva created Veerabhadra and chopped off Daksha's head. So Vaishnavas can show any face, depends upon who is at the affected side. So both have, their own justification.
Okay, Prabhu. Sorry, Partha Prabhu. I was thinking from a different angle altogether when you were asking that question. So my mistake. Yeah. It's like both of them performed transcendental seva, so to say, like that. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, no problem.
Prabhuji,
And I have one more question. Okay, Geeta Mataji, you can go ahead.
No, please go ahead. You finish. I think you please finish, Trivia.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, I have one question regarding fall down. He was in the middle of all demons, Prahlad Maharaj, and yet he didn't fall down. So is it because, he has ascended much into Krishna consciousness, so that he's of course he's in Nishtha, he's a prema stage, Bhava prema stage. So for us, always we are, as Mataji was also saying, we have to we are advised to keep a distance when you are Kanistha. So is it that way it is explained? So he is able to keep his Krishna consciousness in the middle of all such atheists and demons, and we may not be able to. We always need a constant association.
There is no question of fall down in Prahlad Maharaj's case, because fall down happens when you associate with lower modes. Prahlad Maharaj, he never associated with those lower modes surrounding him. He was giving association. It is very important that it is not who is physically surrounding to you. It is whom you are emotionally associated. Physical proximity and association do have some impact in the initial stages. But what is very deep is your emotional association. Whether in case of Prahlad Maharaj, whether in case of Sita Mata, whether in case of Dhruva Maharaj, whether in case of Prabhupada, surrounded by hippies, whether in case of Haridas Thakur with Chidamani, that, prostitute, they were all not taking their association. They were giving association. They were so surcharged. So that is why whenever we are dealing with situations, it is not some external scenario that you see and immediately conclude. Just because somebody walked inside a bar, not necessarily he is a bad person. During Prabhupada's, early days, devotees used to walk inside a bar and distribute back to God a magazine. So the idea is that what consciousness you are in, whom do you take association? Prahlad Maharaj could survive, sustain, because he was taking the association of the Supreme Lord. He was constantly associating with the transcendental instructions that he received from, Narada Muni. So in our own lives also, that is why emotional involvement is something that we should very consciously, cautiously monitor. If you are emotionally involved with someone or something, that has a deep impact. Surroundings are definitely something that we should watch out for. But once you are serious in Krishna consciousness, sometimes you can even learn to give association. Sometimes within your own family, many family members may not necessarily subscribe to your Krishna consciousness. So learn to give your association rather than taking your association. That's what Prahlad Maharaj did. That's why he didn't fall down. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you, Hari.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Gita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just wanted to ask you, was Shabri Mata also self-realized?
Yes, absolutely. She was a wonderful devotee. She managed to demonstrate a very important principle in devotional life, which is called, determination. That the whole point of the second reflection, I gave her example because she was confident that Krishna, Rama will come, and she had patience till he comes. I will keep serving. She is absolutely a devotee, great devotee.
Thank you, Prabhuji. No, not at all. And the other thing is, I thought Ekadashi was over yesterday, no? I'm not sure.
I'm in India, so for us it is today.
Actually, India is ahead of America. We follow India, no? We are behind you, India.
Sometimes the calculations of Tithi and constellations, they may change, from places to places. Even sometimes within India, northern India and southern India will have different. So basically, these Tithi are calculated based on the constellations and movements of stars and several other details. So I'm not an expert in that science, but I go by what our Vaishnava calendar says. So it is Ekadashi for us in Mumbai.
But Prabhuji, the other thing is to break the fast, like they give a time for breaking the fast, but if you don't do anything about breaking, I mean, next morning when you are ready and the time is over for breaking, you can do it later, right? Eat later. It doesn't matter.
If you don't know, you are forgiven, but you can't remain in the don't know state forever. So better get to know, get yourself equipped. I mean, I can say I don't know, I didn't know for one Ekadashi, 2 Ekadashis. I cannot give this as an excuse for every Ekadashi. So there is a reason why it has been given. Because every Vrata, because it is a procedural, part of your austerity, it is associated with certain procedures. For example, you have to perform an Arati. Arati means first is Agarbatti, second is Diya, third is water, fourth is... So there's a sequence. But what if I show other way around? Only devotion is required, no, Prabhuji? Yes, you can say that. But because we are practicing devotees, today our devotional is centered around procedures. The day we get to the stage of Sabari, we can even give Juta to the Lord. You will be still seen as a great devotee. But can I offer my Juta to Krishna because I love Krishna? Is the love that I have is equal to the love that Sabari had? It's a big question mark. So hence, what we are encouraged to do is certain things. Today what we are following is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, which means Sadhana Bhakti under some rules and regulations. It is like I have joined an army. I have to follow the regime as I am told. Don't ask the logical reason. You will get to know the reason eventually. But now follow. I mean, I'm not saying you should not ask. But what I mean to say is, it is important to make sure that we get to know very soon because we are serious in practicing. So we have Vaishnava calendar that tells you when to break the fast. All the best.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Prabhuji, in that I wanted to add that I heard from one devotee from India that the fast is only complete after you do the paran or taking within the time limit. So ideally what one can do is one can set an alarm on the phone just one night before, on Ekadashi day for the Dwadashi time when we can start having, like alarm like in the beginning. Today was 6:30. So, 7 o'clock or so, one alarm saying that, okay, we have to break the Ekadashi. So that way we do it consistently and we complete it, because all the way, especially for people who fasted, Nirjala, some people do Nirjala also without, anything. So, then that last thing is left. If not done on the time, then, they've already done such a tough little fast, and now end may, they made a little mistake, so then they don't get the complete benefit, so to say. So I just wanted to add that. So it's really important, actually, the parent time, the taking time, of the next day, Dwadashi.
Thank you, Rupini Mataji. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Prabhuji, one thing you mentioned for Partha Prabhu's answer is about emotional attachment to devotees is very important. Can you little bit emphasize on that?
I'm saying emotionally involving in any association is we are supposed to be careful. If you are emotionally involved towards a Rakshasa, then you have a problem. Emotionally involving meaning you are exchanging the qualities. You are subscribing to qualities. And subscribing qualities meaning it is going to affect your internal system. Physical proximity, just by I sitting next to Prabhupada, will I become a devotee? Yeah, I have an opportunity to become a devotee, but only when I hear from Prabhupada, only when I serve Prabhupada, only when I, worship Prabhupada. That's when I will change. Just I touch a devotee's, flies are coming and sitting on devotee's body. Will the fly become purified? That's not the case. So what I meant to say is, emotionally being involved in anyone is a serious business. So watch out whom you are emotionally being involved. That's all. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we can end the session now.
Last minute question answers. Otherwise, we'll quickly offer prayer and end. Anybody for question, comment? Okay. Vancha kalpatrubhasya kripa sindhu evacha patitanam pavnebhyo. Anant Koti Vaishnav ki jai, Shri Prabhuji ki jai, in grace Ram Giridhari Prabhuji ki jai, and to all the devotees on the Everyday Chant conference call.